Glad you're here watching my video on YouTube. The fact is, I don't know how long this will be up, since YouTube has decided to start censoring me and pulling down my videos. But don't worry, you can watch this video on rumble.com/randpaul, where I post all of my content. Love to see you over at rumble.com.
Rand Paul joins us tonight to talk more about this. Sir, good to see you. The Omicron hysteria has arrived. I just wanted to get your thoughts on the reaction that we've seen so far.
You know, in medicine, one of the things they teach you is as you come up on an unconscious patient, they say before you take the pulse of the person laying there, take your own pulse. The idea being, don't get excited. You need to be calm and rational and first do no harm. And you see this sometimes. Sometimes you'll see an unconscious patient who's just fainted. Someone begins doing CPR and breaks several of their ribs. So you need to think about what you're doing. It's the same thing here. People are acting in a hysterical way without taking a moment to assess the situation. So one, we don't yet know whether this new variant is more dangerous or less dangerous. Yeah. If it's more dangerous, then we should take some steps and see what we can do to try to protect people. But if it's less dangerous, maybe we need to do nothing. The other thing is before we run off like Fauci saying, oh, we got to get booster, we got to get booster. Well, wouldn't we want to know if this variant responds to the vaccine that we have? It could be that the longer-term thing that we should be doing is saying that we should allow the freedom of a new vaccine to be developed if we need it, and maybe we should allow new therapeutics to come on board as quickly as possible if we need new monoclonal antibodies. But see, none of this we know because we don't yet know whether this is more dangerous or less dangerous. So really, we ought to get some facts before we go off making policy.
Yeah, you make some absolutely good points there. While the administration has been dropping these mandates on international travel, considering, you know, like I said, putting people in quarantine when they arrive to the United States. Fauci was asked what they're doing at the southern border, which, of course, is what a lot of people are paying attention to as everybody overreacts to COVID-19. Here was a response to that.
That's a different issue. For example, when you talk, we still have Title 42 with regard to protection at the border. So there are protections at the border. There is testing at the border under certain circumstances, as you know.
Your reaction to his response?
I think testing is the exception, not the rule at the border. And I think thousands of people have come across the border since Biden said to the entire world, come on up and we'll give you welfare and everything else, and you don't need to be tested. That's the message Biden has sent to the world. So no, I think it's the exception rather than the rule that you're tested down there. But once again, it shows Fauci's political proclivities. I mean, his partisanship, I think, is quite apparent, that he doesn't care too much if you're coming across the border illegally, but he certainly cares about all the lawful travel. But I can tell you my reaction as a traveler is, I don't want to travel anywhere. I don't really want to be at the regime of all these people who don't give a darn about what I think about my personal liberty. Yeah. And if they don't, maybe I don't want to travel. What we really need is the people who are in the hotel and concert industry and everything else to rise up and tell these people, leave our travelers alone or we'll have no travelers. I mean, they're going to destroy the economy again, particularly that depends on travel.
You're exactly right. Nobody wants to. I mean, I haven't even thought about really leaving the continental United States, because you just don't know what's going to change. If you book a trip, you're going to book it at least a month out, most people do, and then what changes in the time before you leave. And I think that's got a lot of people spooked. And I just wonder, in your opinion, you know, is 2-3 years from now and 5 years from now, are we still going to be talking about COVID-19 all the time? Is this going to be at the center of so many conversations? I mean, at what point does this just become something we're going to live with for the next billion years? Because I think it is. I think this is a virus that's not going anywhere.
The reason why those of us who believe in civil liberties and individual liberties should resist is that once you lose your liberty, it's hard to get it back. Yeah. In times of war, government grows large and people lay down their liberty in exchange for supposedly for security. Right now, it's the same thing. Oh, I want to be safe, and so I'm willing to put up with all of these restrictions. But the question is, when do they go away? So I think we should resist, particularly because many of the mandates are not based on science at all. You know, you said in the intro and you pointed out that, yes, people with the vaccine are spreading this just as much as people without the vaccine. But we also know that the best protection is the people who have actually had the disease naturally, and yet they aren't given any provision under the mandates, no exception to the mandates if you've already had the disease. And so really the mandates aren't based on science, they're based on arbitrary and capricious standards. And that's what some judges have already said in striking them down.
That's true. I mean, the great irony of this is the people that have had COVID you get no credit for that at all, and you might be the safest of all of us. That's what's so funny about it. Kentucky Senator Rand Paul, a doctor, thank you so much for the time. Good to see you again.
Thank you.